Okay, here we go. So the first thing we'll start out with here is a little overall terminology.
Now, before we open up iMovie, let's first discuss iMovie terminology. What are some general terms that iMovie uses? The first one is clip. What is a clip? A clip is just basically a video clip. When you hit start record on your camera and then you hit stop, you've created a clip. A clip can be as short as a few seconds or several minutes. It all depends on when you hit start and stop on that camera. Now, several clips that are grouped together are called an event. Let's say you're at a birthday party and you shoot several video clips. All of these are going to be grouped together in an event. So we have our clips and we have our events. Now, when we create a movie of an event, we create a project. So events have both clips and projects. Now, all three of these clips, events, and projects are located in our library. So we go to our library to find all three of these different items. Let's talk about projects here a little bit. When you create a project, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be dragging your clips from an event into a timeline. And this is a linear-based timeline, which means the first video or the first photo that you put in the timeline is going to be the first one that shows. In between these clips on our timeline, or clips and photos, we add transitions. A transition is how one clip transitions into another. And we have several options for how that happens with iMovie. We can also add titles to our clips. Titles are like your credits. Could be the name of the movie, or who made the movie, where the movie was located. So our clips have titles, and when we go from one clip to another, we add transitions. We also have connected clips. With connected clips, what we can do is we can connect one clip to another. This is how we add effects such as side-by-side and picture-in-picture. Speaking of effects, we have the Ken Burns effect. When we add the Ken Burns effect to a video clip or to a photo, what we can do is we can slowly zoom in or out of that video clip or of that photo. This is what we call the Ken Burns effect. And then we have the iMovie Theater. With the iMovie Theater, what I can do is I can share my finished project or my movie trailer to the iMovie Theater, and then any other device that I have connected to my iCloud account, including my Apple TV, my iPhone, my iPad, or another Mac, as long as it's connected with the same iCloud account, what I can do is I can access any project or movie trailer that is shared to that iMovie Theater. So it's an easy way for me to share my creations with my other devices. So I create something on my Mac, and I want to go and show it off. I can open up iMovie on my iPad, and go to the iMovie Theater, and I'll be able to view what I've created on my Mac. So that's the iMovie Theater. So those are some general terms that iMovie uses. Now let's go and look at the iMovie interface and see how some of these terms relate to the interface.
George, I have two questions. Is Ken Burns still the default in the new iMovie?
I think so.
And you can change it by going into crop or even, okay. And the iMovie Theater, from what I'm seeing, because I just used it briefly, that's automatically stored in the iCloud. Does that count against your total storage, do you know? And if so, how can you get it out of the iCloud?
You turn it off.
Okay, there's probably something in
There's
the
an
preferences.
iCloud. I'll show you that.
Okay,
I'm not sure about the storage. I would assume so.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
The, for example, what Vicki just asked was about the theater. And in the theater are all of these movies, okay? If you go over here to to the right-hand side, and you click on the cloud, and you go down to Documents and Data, and you go to Options. You have the opportunity to click on or click off iMovie.
And I would assume you can also do that in system preferences.
Hmm?
I would assume you can also do that in system
Yes.
preferences.
Yes. And I believe,
Will it still stay in the cloud? Yeah.
I believe, well, no, everything that would be in the cloud from this particular iMovie would come off the cloud. But you have to do it, I think, on each device.
And that's using cloud storage there.
Right. Right. Okay.
Now, do you have them in all those in the cloud
Yes.
because you want them to be on your iPad?
I haven't figured out why I have more on the cloud.
Did you make these movies?
Yes, I made them all.
On what?
I made them on my computer. And actually, this morning, as I was preparing for this meeting, I checked my iPad, and they weren't on my iPad, but it was because I wasn't on the Wi-Fi connection.
But if you went into theater on your iPad in iMovie, you should be able to get these, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, why don't you just have them as a project on your computer as opposed to in iMovie Theater?
The purpose of iMovie, of the theater, is to share it
Right,
with all your devices.
right. So that's why you have it to share it with your devices. Is there any other reason you would put it in theater?
And I think you can also share it from here. Let's see here. If I highlight, let's say, the first one that's on there, and I go to share, I can share it with all of these
Okay,
different, and I can email it, and it'll tell me, and I can adjust the size of it,
right.
and for email, it automatically brings it way down.
George,
Yes,
let's say you make a presentation and you don't put it in the theater, can you play it from the
yes,
project?
yes.
But you can't play it on your device. But you can play it on your computer.
On the project we
Yeah.
created?
Yes.
George, just the few minutes I went into the new one, it appeared that all of my projects, I was just editing some clips, but somehow they became projects, and they all went into theater. But it could be because I wanted to export them then to a folder on my desktop. Is that why they would have all gone in? They all don't automatically go in?
I think we're going to cover that here in a little
Great.
bit, I believe.
Great.
Okay. Let's go over the interface overview here.
In this video, we're going to look at the interface to iMovie. Let's go down to our dock and open up iMovie. Now, iMovie opens up in windowed mode, which means it's a window. I can go and move this around. When you're working with iMovie, it's nice to have this window as large as possible. Now, there's two ways that we can do this. We can open it up in full screen mode, or we can make the window as large as possible. Let's look at full screen mode first. Now, when you open up an app, such as iMovie in full screen mode, what's going to happen is the dock is going to disappear, and the menu bar at the top is going to disappear. To open it up in full screen mode, we go over to the right side here, top right, and you're going to see these double arrows. When I click on it, watch the dock and the menu bar. They disappear. And now iMovie has taken up the entire screen. So how do I get to the menu bar? Maybe I need to access one of iMovie's menus. To do that, we bring the cursor up to the top, and the menu bar reappears. Bring it back down, and it disappears. Now for this tutorial, I'd like to keep the menu bar showing at all times. So what I want to do is I want to open up iMovie as large as possible. I want to fill the screen, but yet show the menu bar. How do we do that? Well, let's take it back out of full screen mode and back into window mode. To do that, we go over the upper right-hand corner, click on these double arrows, and we're back in window mode. Now what I want to do is I want to hide the dock. We go up to the Apple menu in the upper left-hand corner. We go dock, and we say turn hiding on, and this is going to hide the dock. The next thing I do is I click on the green dot in the upper left-hand corner. And this is going to make the window as large as possible. It's going to make it fill the screen, but yet show the menu bar. Click on it, and you can see the window is as large as it can be, yet we still have access to the menu bar. This is how we're going to work with iMovie in this tutorial. Now, when we're looking at the interface to iMovie, it's divided into different sections. Across the top, we have our toolbar. The toolbar is where we import our clips, create projects, share our different projects. This is also where we can access the iMovie Theater. And over on the right side, we have enhance and adjust. This is where we can enhance our clips as well as make different adjustments to them. So the toolbar across the top is always going to show. On the left side, we have our libraries. The libraries are where we find our different content. This includes any clips, any events, any photos, as well as projects and the content library, which includes transitions, titles, maps and backgrounds, music from iTunes, sound effects, and any music that you've created in GarageBand. So our libraries are located on the left side. I want to go and access all the clips from a certain event. I go to the library, and let's say I wanted to access all of the clips from Mackinac Island. Well, if we look here, you're going to see Mackinac Island. Click on it, and there are all the clips from Mackinac Island. Maybe I want to see all of my photos. We go to iPhoto Library. Here's all the photos. I want to see all of my projects. Click on all projects.
You have to have, if you're like me, I have many iPhoto libraries. So if there's a particular library that's linked to the video that you want to work with, then you have to make sure that was the last open library in order for that to show up. Also, iPhoto Library will show up, or Aperture.
And there's all of my projects. You want to see all of the transitions that are available? We go down to the bottom, go to Transitions, and you're going to see all of the transitions. Now, where is it showing these different transitions? Where am I seeing all these different clips from my events? Where am I seeing all of my projects? Well, that's in this section here. Whatever I have selected on the left side, whatever library I have selected on the left side here, I have transitions selected. So what do I see? I see all of the transitions. Titles, click on it. There's all of my titles that are available. Let's go back to my events. I want to see all of the clips that I have in the Mackinac Island event. There's all the clips. I want to see all the clips that are in Pacific Northwest. There's all the clips. If we look at the top of the clips, you're also going to see we have a project. So in addition to all of our clips, we're also going to see any projects that are in that event. If you recall, projects are located in events, just like clips. This is where you'll find them. If we go to Durango and Silverton Railroad, click on it, you're going to see we have multiple projects. And when I scroll up, there are all the clips. Now when we're looking at the Durango and Silverton Railroad name here, you're going to see it's cut off.
In that, up there, some clips are separate, some clips are connected. Are those what's called the connected clips?
No, those are just longer clips. That's where it's turning on and off the camera. at this point, when you're looking at an
You don't have
event,
those black bars between all the clips out there.
The black bars are between the clips, but when
but
you
he couldn't
see.
split it, he couldn't
Yeah,
split them.
yeah, or you see connected clips, that means that that's the rate at which you're showing it, right? I mean, sometimes the clip will just be one square, a rectangle, or sometimes the clip will be 3 or 4
One
because
roll
it's
back.
longer.
Well, it also could be one, the single one might be a photo, and the connected one may be a video too.
It depends how fast you're showing the movie, right?
No, it
No.
depends upon
I mean,
how you set to see it. In other
Oh,
words, you can
correct.
sometimes see it in half-second increments
right.
or in 5-second increments.
Like if you want to see all of the movie in one look-see, you'll make it shorter. If you want to spread it out so you can see more of the clip individually, then you make it longer and it may hang over onto another page. or
Yeah, but what he's asking about here is why are some longer than others?
Because they're longer
Because they're longer
clips.
clips.
Right.
Up there, the second row,
Yeah.
you look at it, on the left side, you have uncovered 2 clips and bar between them. And there's another bar, and the next clip is continued, is 4 clips together without bar.
No, not necessarily, no, it's one long clip.
Right, yeah.
It's where you have,
Or it shows more, but
Because it's a longer clip.
Longer video.
And
so
you
you can
can,
access it at different points.
you can control how
Okay.
much of the clip you want to show.
and you can, you can cut it, you can clip, you can cut it, you can shorten it, you can split it. But that's as long as you had actually recorded that video.
Okay.
It would depend upon the size.
So the notebooks, because this is new, the notebooks,
No boom.
no boom, okay. The no boom, those are for projects, and are those just the events that are in the projects, or is it something totally new?
No, he's calling it the library.
Okay, right. Mhm.
The library that's on his drive is called the Note Boom Library.
Got it,
So
okay.
you can have many, many, many libraries.
Right, like the old one,
Hmm?
like the old one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
The library can be resized as well as hidden. This comes in handy when you have a lot of clips, such as the Durango and Silverton Railroad. I have a lot of clips here. Let's first look at resizing this sidebar. To do that, what we do is we bring our cursor to the border of the library, and you're going to see it changes to a couple of double arrows. Now what I can do is I can drag this to the left and to the right. And now when we go up to Durango and Silverton, you can see the entire name. I can also go and hide this library. To do that, we go up to Hide up here. Click on it and it hides it. If I want to see all of my libraries again, maybe I want to access some transitions, I go back to Show, and I can see all of my libraries again. Now next to where we see all of these clips or transitions or titles, we have our viewer. Now you're going to see that the viewer has a screenshot in it right now. Where is this coming from? Well, you're going to see we have this white vertical line over top of a clip. This is our playhead, and the viewer is showing what is underneath that playhead. We can also skim through clips. Right now my cursor is over in the library. But watch in the viewer what happens when I move the cursor over top of a clip. So I'm going to move it over top of a clip here, and the viewer changes. Instead of showing what is underneath the playhead, it's showing what is underneath my cursor because my cursor is over top of a clip. This is what we call skimming. Whenever my cursor is over top of a clip, it could be up in the events here, or it could be in the timeline. the viewer is going to show what is underneath that cursor. When I have my cursor outside of a clip, let's move it outside. Now it's going to show me what is underneath the playhead. So we have skimming and playhead. And the viewer reflects what is underneath either one of those. Now below all of our clips from an event and our viewer, we have our project or our timeline. This is where we actually build our project. You're going to see we have a name here, Durango Railroad. That's the name of the project that is open. If I want to close a project, you click on the X. In our project, we have our different clips. We have our transitions. We have our titles. We have our audio. We also have our connected clips. So again, this is where we build our movie project. I can also resize this section of the iMovie window. When we move our cursor,
You mentioned connected clip, I think. That's when you're placing a clip on top of another clip. And also, if you bring that clip and put it right on top of the clip, or the clip on top of the clip, it'll give you options, replace without audio and so forth.
up towards the top here, you're going to see it changes. Double arrow again, pointing up and down. So what do you think that means? I can move it down and up to resize my project window. Now when we're looking at our project, you're going to see I can swipe back and forth to view the project. I can also wrap this. It's going to wrap like a paragraph. To do that, what we do is we go up to View, and you're going to see Wrapping Timeline. Click on this, and now it's going to wrap like a paragraph. Let's go increase the resolution of this project so you can see what I mean. To do that, we go over to this little slider over here, and I'll talk about that in another video, but I'm going to go and slide this to the right. And now when we look at a project, you're going to see it wraps like a paragraph. When I get to the end here, I go down to the bottom, and it wraps.
George,
Now when you're viewing,
that what he was just doing with that little slider,
Right.
that's how you change the lengths of the clips as you're looking at them. You see how he made those clips much longer to view? It's a viewing issue.
It's a viewing issue when you sometimes, when you're doing some real detail work on your movie, and you want to see you want to see it spread out, that's when you use that.
project in this wrapping timeline mode, you're not going to be able to edit the speed. When I control click here, you're going to see that Show Speed Editor is grayed out. But when I go up to View here, and I turn Wrapping Off, now I have to scroll to view the entire project. When I control click here, I can show the speed editor. So if you can't see the speed editor, it's probably because you have wrapping timeline on. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at our skimming and playhead here, now that we're talking about the timeline. Now you're going to see I have the playhead here, the white line in this clip. But when I go and move my cursor over to this clip, the viewer shows what is in that clip. I want to go and play my video. To play a video, what you do is you hit the space bar. Your space bar is your play pause. So when I hit the space bar here, where do you think it's going to start? You'd think it would start from the playhead. But it's actually going to start from where my skimmer is, the orange vertical line. I'm going to hit the space bar here to play the video. Hit play. If we want to play what is underneath the playhead, what we have to do is we have to move our cursor outside of this area. I generally like to move it over into the library area. So I'm going to go back over here and put my playhead on this clip. How do I move the playhead? I click to move the playhead. You can see I have the white line there. And now I'm going to move the cursor over to my library area, and when I hit play, now it plays from there. So depending on where you have your cursor, when you hit play by hitting the space bar, it could start from where your playhead is, or it could start from where your skimmer is. Now when we're talking about the skimmer, when I skim here, all I'm doing is just moving the cursor. If you listen, you're not going to hear any audio. It doesn't skim audio. I'm going to go out and skim it. We can skim audio as well. If we go up to view here, very bottom we have audio skimming. Turn this on, and now listen when I skim. So we can turn audio skimming on and off by going up to view and going to audio skimming. I usually turn this off. Now we can also swap where our project timeline is and where the clips from the event that is selected are shown. So we have our timeline across the bottom. Now we can swap where our project is and where the clips from our selected event are. If we go up to window here, you're going to see swap project and event. So right now our project is on the bottom half of the screen. Watch what happens when I select this. Now,
You might want to do that, Vicki,
Yes.
because that's the old
That's
program.
the old
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to figure out a lot of times, I want to go
Right.
up and move something.
Right.
That's how we do it.
clips from our selected event are across the bottom, and our project is across the top. Scroll to see the entire project. If I want to wrap it, we go up to view, and I can go and wrap it. If I want to swap it back, maybe I like the project on the bottom, go up to window, swap project and event, and let's turn wrapping back off. So that's how we can swap the positions of our project and our clips from the event that is selected. And then let's take a look at the interface when we close a project. I'm going to click on the X here. The project is now closed. So now we have the viewer in the top half and all the clips from the event that is selected in the bottom half. To open up a project, we just go and select the project we want to open. All projects are located at the top of the clips. Double click, and it opens back up.
That's important to realize. The projects are at the top of the event. They're at the top of the event. Or you can reach them over in on the menu bar on the left. But many times when I'm working with this program now, I'm looking for the project, and then if I remember correctly, it's at the top of the event.
So that is the interface to iMovie. We have all of the content located on the left side in the libraries. Any open projects are going to be in the bottom half of the screen. We have our viewer in the top right of the screen. And then we have any of the content of what is selected in the library. This includes clips from events, projects, photos, or transitions, titles, and maps and backgrounds located next to the viewer. So that's the interface to iMovie. Now let's go and look at how we select different clips in iMovie.
Let's jump down for a second to trailer, because there were some questions about the theater. There were some questions about that.
Now with iMovie, we can share any projects. This includes both movie trailers and movies with the iMovie Theater. What is the theater? Let's open up iMovie. The theater is where we can easily access our completed projects. You're going to see up in our toolbar here we have theater. Click on it, and these are all of my completed projects.
All projects appear to go right into theater once they're completed.
Now the nice thing about the theater is if you use iCloud, any of your completed projects are going to be shared among all of your different devices that have iMovie on them, and you're using the same iCloud account. As an example, I have here our wedding. I did not create this on this computer. I created this on another computer. And what I did is I placed it in the theater on that other computer, but being that they're hooked up to the same iCloud account, they shared it. I have an Apple TV hooked up to the same iCloud account. I'm going to be able to watch any one of these completed projects on my Apple TV. I have an iPad with iMovie. I'm going to be able to watch any one of these shared projects with my iPad. Let's see how we share these projects with the theater. We're going to go back to library here. And all we have to do is we go to our project. I'm just going to go to all projects here. And let's say I wanted to share Durango here. I want to share with the theater. Click on it. We have our yellow border around it. And then we go to share. Go ahead and click on it. And you're going to see theater.
Okay, that's the way, I was wrong. They don't automatically go into the theater. You have the option of sharing it to the theater.
You have to have.
So you can keep it out of your cloud that way.
The project would have to be completed though, to do that.
Well,
Well,
only-
you determine when it's completed.
yeah, only you would know whether it's completed. I mean, you don't have to complete it.
You don't have to complete it, put it in the iMovie or in the theater.
No, as long as it's in the project. As long
You
as
can
it
declare
is
it
a
complete
project.
anytime, right?
Yeah, you can always adjust, whenever it's in a project, you can always adjust it. Take things in and out, adjust the sound and so forth.
George, on the iPad in iMovie, when you have a movie in there in the projects, if you want to show it on the Apple TV or you want it to show on your computer, you've got to put it in theater to be able to put it in iMovie on your computer. That's the only way it'll get into iMovie on your computer. But then you
Meaning
can...
the only way you can see it on your ITV. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you want to see, if you make a movie on your iPad,
And you want to see it on your computer,
see it on your computer,
It
you
has
have
to
to
be
put
in
it in theater.
Right.
Or if you want to see it on your Apple TV, you have to put it in
right,
theater.
that's what
Right.
you did, yeah. that's-
I think that maybe there might be other, it puts it into some format to do that. There might be other ways to put it into other different formats too. I don't know what format it puts it into, but.
Yeah, that's what he just said. It has to be in the theater to see it on your ITV.
Apple
Apple
TV.
TV?
Yes.
For Apple
I question
TV.
that because I have theater showing up on my Apple TV, but my iMovies, I have iMovies and I have home movies, home videos. They're in my Apple TV, but I have not put anything in.
And that's all the,
No, what I'm saying is if you have something in iMovie on your iPad, that you make a movie on your iPad, to see it on your Apple TV, you have to put it in theater. I'm not talking about movies that are in video app. That's different. If it's in,
If it's created in.
if it's a video you have in your video app, well, I don't know what constitutes whether you can put it on Apple TV. But if you make a movie or you edit it in iMovie on your iPad, then you have to put it in theater to see it on your Apple TV.
is to sharing the project with the theater. Now you're going to see a little bar graph down here at the bottom. This is going to show you the progress of the sharing. If you have a large project, it's going to take a little bit longer. You're also going to see that it says uploading to iCloud. Once this is complete, I'll be able to access this from my Apple TV or from any other device that has iMovie and I'm using my same iCloud account. Let's go back to our library here and let's take a look at our trailer here. Now you're going to see when we look to the left of our settings over here, let's go over to the left here, you're going to see how it is shared. It's shared as a movie, which means I export it as a file. It's also shared as email. And let's go ahead and click on this so we can get more detail. It's shared to the theater. So if you ever need to know how a project is shared, let's go and take a look at another one. Let's go with Tulip Time Trailer here. Not shared. Let's go and look at Durango Railroad. How is this one shared? with iTunes and with the theater. And if we want more detail, we just click on the little share button here, and we can see when it was shared. And then the last thing I want to show you, if we look over to the right here, you're going to see this little cloud. This is where we find our different settings for iCloud. Let's go ahead and open it up. Opens up in System Preferences. I'm going to go scroll up here. You're going to see Documents and Data, because I want to share my documents and data. And I'm going to go to Options, and you're going to see iMovie. So if you do not want to share your theater with your other devices, go ahead and turn this off. Or if you are sharing them and it's not showing up on your other devices, make sure that this is turned on. Click on Done and close this window. So that is how we share our projects. This includes both movies and movie trailers with the theater in iMovie.
Okay, let's talk about now importing the media.
Now before we create a project or a movie trailer, we need to import our media from our camera. So let's take a look at importing into iMovie. Let's go ahead and open up iMovie here. And before we import our media, what we need to do is we need to connect up our camera to our computer, or if your Mac has an SD card slot, what you can do is you can take the SD card out of your camera and place it in the SD card slot. So I have my SD card plugged into my MacBook Pro. Now what I need to do to import it is go up to the top, and you're going to see in the toolbar here, Import. Let's go ahead and click on it, and a little window opens up here. Now on the left side, you're going to see cameras, and all of the cameras that are connected to my computer are going to show up here. Now the SD card shows up as a camera. I have an iFi card. So that's showing up as a camera. If I wanted to import from a hard drive, maybe I have some video clips on a hard drive, what I can do is I can go to Devices here, and you're going to see it's showing all of the hard drives that are connected to my computer. So we can import from a camera, an SD card slot, or from a hard drive. I want to import from my iFi card, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and make sure that iFi is selected. You're going to see that it's selected here. And when it's selected, down at the bottom half of the screen, you're going to see all of my clips that are on this iFi card. Now what it's going to do is it's going to include all of the media that is on the iFi card. This includes photos and videos. Now I have a lot of these photos in my iPhoto, so I don't want to import these photos again into iMovie. I'm just going to be duplicating the content. So if you keep your photos in iPhoto or in Aperture and you don't want to import them into iMovie, what we can do is we can go over to the upper right hand side here and we can choose videos. And now I'm only looking at my videos. If I want to go and see only the photos, there's all my photos. So depending on how your workflow is, you can go and select what you want to import. I'm going to keep it as videos. Let's go ahead and click on videos because I have the photos in my Aperture library. Now if I just wanted to import all of the clips on this card, I can go and click on Import All. But before we do that, we need to decide where we want to import them into. Do we want to import them into a new event, or maybe we want to import them into an existing event? I want to create a new event. To do that, we go up to the top here and you're going to see Import To, and then I have a pull-down menu. All my events, when I click on this, are going to show up here. I want to create a new event, so I'm going to go ahead and scroll up here, and you're going to see New Event. Now I have two different places where I can create this event. I can create it in my iMovie library, which is on my Macintosh HD hard drive, or what I could do is I could go and create it on my Notebook hard drive. And we'll talk about this a little bit more in the next video when we talk about organizing our libraries. We can create multiple libraries and place them on different hard drives. Makes it a little bit easier to manage space because videos can take up a lot of space. So I'm going to go ahead and import this into my iMovie library, which is on my Macintosh HD. So I'm going to create a new event. Let's go ahead and click on it. So you're going to ask me to name it. And this is from Mackinac Island. So let's go ahead and name it. And now I hit OK. And what's going to happen is it's going to import all of these clips into a new event called Mackinac Island, and it's going to be on my Macintosh hard drive. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. I'm also going to show you how you can select different clips. Maybe I don't want to import all of the clips. To select clips, what we do is we just go and select the clip. You're going to see it has a yellow border around it. And now when we go down to the bottom, you're going to see instead of import all, it says import selected. So right now it's going to import just that one clip. How do I make multiple selections? All I need to do is just hold down the Shift key, click on another clip, and I've just selected that clip. Let's say I wanted to select all the clips in the first row. Now what I do, still holding down the Shift key, is I go to the end clip here, click it, and you're going to see that whole first row has yellow borders around the clips. So it's going to import all 6 of those clips. Wonder if I wanted to leave one of those clips out. Well, instead of holding the Shift key, what I can do, I'm going to go ahead and click outside here to deselect all of these clips. All I have to do is just click here, and now the clips are deselected, and I can go back to importing all. But what I want to do is I want to select different clips. They're not all in a row. So let's say I wanted to go and select this clip here, and I wanted to go and select this clip of the butterfly, but I don't want to select any of the clips that are in between these. Now if I held down the Shift key, it's going to select all of the clips that are in between these 2 clips. To do that, we press the Command key. And now you're going to see I only have those 2 clips selected. So Shift key allows me to select multiple clips in between the 2 that I have selected. The Command key allows me to just randomly select different clips. Once I have my clip selected, click on Import Selected. So let's go ahead and import these. I'm going to go back to Import All. So I'm going to go ahead and select outside here, and we're going to go to Import All. Before I do that, what do I have to do? I have to go and create a new event. We'll call this again Mackinac Island. And hit OK. Now I've just created a new event. And we go to Import All. So it's going to import all of the videos, because I have videos selected up here, from this SD card into a new event. Import All. Now while it's importing, you're going to see we have this little icon here. It tells you what it's doing. It's the activity. If I click on it, you can see it gives me some more detail. If I wanted to go and cancel the import, I can click on the X here. So that's where we can see what activity is going on with iMovie. So if we look over to the left, you're going to see we have our iMovie library, which is where I told it to import it into. And there's Mackinac Island. Let's go back to import. Click on import. You're going to see that I have import complete as a notification. I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to leave it in there. I'm not going to eject it. Close it. Now the clips are still shown here, even though I imported them. What we can do is we can hide our clips that have been imported. To do that, what we do is we go to this little icon up here. Click on it, and you're going to see Hide Imported Clips. When I click on this, all of my clips disappeared. Why? Because I've already imported them. So I will usually leave this on. I want to hide all of my imported.
Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to keep the clips once they're there?
Let's say I had, here's why I think that's a good option. Let's say I only imported some clips. Then all of a sudden I decided I wanted to go back and check. I would hide the ones I already imported, otherwise it can get confusing. And the other thing up here, and I don't know if he's going to cover it, is where it says videos. Many times, or when I take movies with my movie camera, I can often, well, the movie camera automatically takes some still shots. Must be a setting during the time I'm taking my movie. And also, if I hold down this particular button on the camera, it'll take a still shot. but usually I want to only import into iMovie the actual video, and sometimes if I just go down here and say import all, and I forget, I get everything, the pictures and so forth. So it's important to have it set to whether you want to import. I'm sure one of the options is pictures also. Does that answer your question? Okay. Was there another one?
I have another question,
Yeah.
but you might want to finish that clip and then.
Because I don't want to re-import them again. I'm just duplicating the content. So we usually leave hide imported clips on. Let's go ahead and turn this off so I can show you a couple other options here before I turn this back on. Unhide it. We have show waveforms. If I want to see the waveforms, the audio waveforms, click on this. And now if we look at the bottom of the clip, we have our audio waveform. We can also go and change the clip size. Now watch what happens when I drag this little slider to the left and the right. I'm going to drag to the left. You can see they get smaller so I can see more clips. I drag to the right, they get larger. So you can adjust the size of the clips. I'm going to turn show waveforms off so I can see more of the clips. And I'm going to go and hide imported clips. That's how I usually have it set. Now let's see how we import from a hard drive. Let's go over to my Macintosh HD here. And all we have to do is just dig down to our folder. So I'm in Users here, and I'm going to go to No Boom Productions, and I go to Movies. And any movies that I can import are going to show up in here, and I can go and import those movies. So all you have to do is just go to your hard drive where your movies are located, dig down to the folder where those movies are located, and then you can import those movies into iMovie. Now I keep mentioning movies, but don't forget, iMovie can also import photos. I generally don't import photos into iMovie because I have them in my Aperture or iPhoto library. But if you don't use iPhoto or Aperture to manage your photos, or maybe you're creating a project and you don't want to include those photos in this project in your iPhoto or Aperture library, you can import them into iMovie. They're just going to show up along with your clips. So that's how we import into iMovie. In the next video, we're going to take a look at how we can organize our different clips and events in iMovie. So let's go ahead and look at viewing and organizing our videos in our next video.
Okay, my question is, on your cameras, they have FaceTime camera. Does that mean you can import from your FaceTime camera while you're on FaceTime?
I do not know, but I'm assuming yes.
Or is it just saying that that camera is on my computer?
No, you must be able to import that right into, when you say
It would be,
in Face, do you use the camera in FaceTime? I mean, do you use the camera? What am I saying?
I don't know.
I know what you want to say, whether you use your
Are you
movie
recording
camera
it?
for FaceTime or the camera that's built into the computer for FaceTime.
When you go to FaceTime.
Oh, you can use a separate movie
You can
camera for
use an
FaceTime?
external.
Yes, you can do it.
You can use an
Okay.
external camera.
Well,
I guess
I
you
mean,
can
I use
import
my
directly from
iPad
FaceTime.
camera or I use my computer camera.
Right. But are you doing it through, are you doing anything with FaceTime? Are you importing anything,
No, that's my
exporting
question.
anything into FaceTime? I don't know the answer to your question.
It's a FaceTime question, it's not an iMovie question, but I didn't know whether you could actually record while you're doing FaceTime.
I would imagine you can. Because I would imagine you can.
Because I was
You
doing,
may have to legally, you may have to inform the other person.
yeah, I mean, since I saw that camera there in iMovie, it just made me wonder how you would do that. That was my question.
I'll try to find out.
Okay.
Okay, any other, was there another question? Okay. See about viewing and organizing now.
Now let's look at viewing and organizing our clips, events, and projects in iMovie. Let's go ahead and open up iMovie here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to close my open project. How do we do that? Well, we go to the top left of our timeline and we click on the little X. Let's go ahead and click on the X and our project is closed. And let's first talk about viewing our different events, projects, and clips. Over on the left side we have iPhoto Library. This is going to allow us to go and view all of our photos that are in iPhoto or Aperture, depending on which application we use. Click on it, and you're going to see all of my different projects that are in Aperture. If I wanted to go and see all of the events, click on All Events here, and now I'm looking at all of the events that are in iMovie. Maybe I want to see all of the projects. Click on All Projects here. And now I'm looking at all of the projects. I just have 2 projects here. So that's how we can easily see all of the events, projects, and our photos. Now let's talk about libraries. When we import our clips from our camera into iMovie, we import it into a library. Well, iMovie can handle multiple libraries. Maybe we have a library of family videos, and we have a library for work videos. We can create different libraries. We can also keep these different libraries on separate hard drives. This is how I usually do it, because videos take up a lot of space. So what I'll do is I'll have a library of videos on separate hard drives. And in this case I have my iMovie library, that is on my Macintosh HD, and then I also have another iMovie library, and I renamed it as iMovie Library Noteboom HD. That's on my Noteboom hard drive. So I have 2 different libraries here. And when we import events, we need to choose which library we want to import those events into. How do we create libraries? Well, if we go up to the file here, you're going to see Open Library. Well, we also have New. If I click on New here, I can go and create a new library. I tell it where I want to create that library at, so I can select a different hard drive. Once I create that library, let's go ahead and hit cancel. It's going to show up on the left side here. And then when I import my videos, I can choose which library I want to have them imported into. So that's how we use the different libraries. Now when we import our videos into a certain library, we create an event on that library. In this case, we have Mackinac Island and it's the iMovie library. I can go and move these different events around. If I want to go and move Mackinac Island event to my Noteboom hard drive, just drag it over, and now it is copying all of those files over to that library, which is on another hard drive. And if you look in the upper right hand corner, we have our little activity monitor. Click on it, and you can see what it's doing. Now what it's going to be doing is it's going to be copying all of those clips and events over to this other hard drive or this other library. So once it's done copying, what I need to do is I need to select this one and delete it. Because right now it's in my iMovie library, and you're going to see Mackinac Island is on my Noteboom hard drive. So we can easily move different events and projects from one library to another. I'm going to go ahead and delete this event since I moved it over to another hard drive. To do that, Command Delete, and now it is no longer in that library because I have it in the other library. Another thing I can do is I can hide libraries that I'm not using. Right now I have this Noteboom hard drive. That's where all of my events are located. So I want to go and hide this library. Now one thing I can do is I can just click on the little triangle here and it closes it up, but I can also go and hide this. To hide it, what I do is I select it, and if I control click using the control key, you're going to see Close Library. Let's go ahead and close it. Now I didn't actually delete that library. It's still there. If I want to go and open up that library again, I go up to File, Open Library, and there it is. If it's not showing up at all, I can go and select Other and then just go and select that library. So if you have multiple libraries, you can close them if you're not using them. Cleans up the interface a little bit more. So now I have just my no-boom hard drive and all of the events that are in that library. I can combine and split events. Let's go to Mackinac Island here again. And if I wanted to split it,
Just before he goes on to something else, I just want to make it clear. So it's similar to iPhoto. If I in iMovie say I wanted to make a second library, and I kept it on my hard drive, but then I moved it from the hard drive to an external, I can delete it on my hard drive and I will have all the information that I need, the events and the project, on my external hard drive.
You move to the library.
Right.
The whole library.
So it's just like
But
the
you can do it
iPhoto
right,
library.
you can do it right on here.
I see that, right.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Right,
go-
I see that.
right. You
Right.
can do it right on here.
Right.
I do a lot of that, move.
Yeah, I do that with iPhoto all the
Right.
time.
Right.
Because I have like dozens of iPhoto libraries and when I'm done. Okay, great, thanks.
There was something else I was just thinking about. Oh, Marilyn, on your question, you can record a FaceTime call using QuickTime
Okay.
on your computer.
See that? But it also, it says that the store's got a program called Screen Recorder that an iOS device will do it. But without that program, it won't do it.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Okay.
it's event, what I need to do is I first need to create a new event. How do I do that? I go up to File here, and New Event. Let's create a new event. And let's just call this one Mackinac City. And let's say some of those clips were from Mackinac Island and some of them were from Mackinac City. So now what I need to do is I need to go back to Mackinac Island and select the clips that were from Mackinac City. So let's just go ahead and select some of these. I held down the Shift key, so it selected all the clips in between the two that I selected, and I dragged them over to Mackinac City. If we look at Mackinac City, there are the clips that are in that event. We go to Mackinac Island, there are the clips in that event. If I want to combine these events back up, all of these clips are actually from Mackinac Island, so I want to combine these back up. I drag Mackinac City on top of Mackinac Island, and now it combined all of those clips and deleted Mackinac City. Let's go ahead and click on Mackinac Island, and there are all the clips. So to split an event, we create a new event by going up to the menu bar and then drag the clips that we want into that new event. To merge events, what we do is we drag one event on top of another, and then it's going to merge those two events together. How do I rename an event? Let's go ahead and rename Mackinac Island. It's selected right now, so what do? I click on it again, just one click, and now I can go and rename it. So that's how we can keep our events, projects, and clips organized. When we import our clips into iMovie, we create an event. When we create that event, we have to create it in a library. We can have multiple libraries and keep them on different hard drives. We can copy events from one library to another. We can merge events, and we can split events. To split an event, we create a new event and drag any clips that we want into that new event. So that is how we can view and organize our projects, clips, and events in iMovie.
Okay, creating a movie project.
Let's go ahead and create a movie project in iMovie and see how easy it is to start creating movies in iMovie. Let's open up iMovie. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another project in my Durango and Silverton Railroad event. Remember, when we create projects, we create them in events. So we have to first select the event that we want to create a project in. And in this case, I already have a project in my Durango and Silverton Railroad, but I want to create another one. We can create multiple projects in an event. So first thing we have to do is we have to go and select which event we want the project to be in. And then what we do is we go up to create here. Let's go ahead and click on create. And we have two options. We can create a movie or we can create a movie trailer. Let's go and create a movie. We'll talk about trailers later on in the tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead and click on movie. First thing it asks is, do we want to apply a theme? I'm just going to go with no theme for right now. We can easily change the theme later on. So let's just go with no theme right now and look at a basic project. So I'm going to go down to create here. It's going to ask me to name it. So let's go with Durango. And I'm going to hit OK. And that's all there is to creating a project. You're going to see now we have our timeline here. Now we don't have any clips in it. To add clips to our timeline, all we have to do is just go to the clip that we want, select which part of the clip. We can select frames within a clip, and then we just hit the little plus here, and it'll add it to my timeline. Let's see how this works. So I'm going to select part of this. You're going to see the little plus, and now I've just added that to my project. That's how easy it is to create a movie project. We first select the theme that...
Just want to clarify, can you still drag and drop, or just only the plus in the new one?
You can drag and
You can
drop.
still drag and drop? Thank you.
want the project to be in, go up to create, create movie, select our theme, and we can change that theme later on, which I'll talk about in another video, and then we just start adding our clips. So that's how we create a movie in iMovie. Let's take a look at the movie settings in our next video.
Okay, let me see here. I just wanted to show you what a real library looks like. We'll open my library in a second. How I normally open is I first determine, because I have many libraries, and sometimes, I think we determined this at one of our meetings, sometimes there can be a problem when you just open iMovie that a library might not show up. So what I normally do is I start out by going to the external hard drive that I have the library on that I want to work with. And let's say I want to work with this particular library. So I open it. No, I didn't need to do that. That's Final Cut. And so I've opened up this, and it opened up in Theater. So here's my library, and you can see here, I keep my pictures normally in aperture. So this is my aperture pictures. These are all of my events that are on here, projects. And I thought I'd show you maybe one of my, this was a project I just did yesterday. And this is a trailer. And it's really interesting. I have noticed that I do a lot of work for one of the Jewish groups here in town. And the longer the video, the fewer the views. The shorter the video, the views go up dramatically. I mean, sometimes to 1,000 views versus 50. Anyway, so here's one I did yesterday. sends out on Friday to the parents, and they're on a website, and the parents can view these movies. And anything that's longer than 2 or 3 minutes maybe gets 50 views. Anything that's 2 minutes gets hundreds and hundreds of views. So, so when you make these movies for your family and your grandkids and so forth, and you're so attached because you've actually taken the movies, that but nobody really wants to see a long movie. They really want to see it. The shorter the better. Anyway, that's iMovie for today.